we got this.
Okay.
We fucking got
We
this,
did
I
it.
think. Yeah.
We did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
ManCon 5. The highest that it goes until next year. Next
Yeah.
year? Next episode? I don't know,
Episode,
man.
we could have we're taking a sabbatical.
It's been a long 2024.
Yeah,
All right.
indeed. Indeed.
There's a lot going on. A lot of people
Well,
saying.
I think we should question really.
Yeah.
Are we in 2024? Or is this still 2020?
Is this a simulation?
You know?
Is this real?
I mean, we got Trump versus Biden.
Was Grimes right? Trump versus Biden. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Right?
Other things are happening. Will Smith was eating spaghetti via AI.
That happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah, no, it's much worse now. It looks much more realistic. I hate it.
Which I don't buy any of that. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, what? In AI?
Well, the AI videos, they released it and they're like, oh, this is just what we made. This
you think it's actually Will Smith? Or okay.
Sure. No.
Yeah.
I feel like they doctored the videos and they released them and they said, look what we did. You'll be able to look at this later on or something like that. I don't know.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't care for the idea of it all, I think.
Well,
I don't like that it's happening.
For me, and I mean, like, this isn't, I guess, like, we're just gonna have to like jump into it, but I don't think anything in AI is new.
Yeah.
To the fundamental problems with human beings itself, right?
True. Yeah.
Because I think back to, the War of the Worlds radio broadcast and how it sent, a bunch of Americans into, chaos because they thought like aliens were taking over the world, So it's not necessarily, I don't think it's I was just saying it's an us problem.
So
right?
you think Orson Welles is creating the
he's
AI.
in the AI machine.
Oh, God.
You see,
he was trying to tell us something when his last voice role was Unicron. He's part of the machine now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think having this understanding of AI that I have is probably on par with the understanding that most conservatives have of Starship Troopers.
Yes. So listen, I got a fresh perspective on the movie. I went back and watched it on Friday, and it defies logic that some people can look at this film and just be like, "It's a fun military movie." It's definitely not. Oh, what do you think? The bad guys?
Well, the bugs.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those bugs and you're like, those are bad guys.
Yeah.
Like Verhoeven's such a they
look like spiders, and spiders are bad. 1 + 1 = 2.
He's not a subtle man. Like, I think everything about his films is should be pretty like. So if you look at like Johnny Rico, right? Like throughout the film, every time he raises in rank is just because someone in front of him has died tragically. All right?
Well, I think what you're ignoring is his heroic ability to not die.
I mean that's it.
I think that's
literally all he contributes. Even him saving Denise Richards is because he was given secret SS brain signals from Neil Patrick Harris. Like
the way
he does zero things in the actual military.
So first of all, the way you're talking about him is as if you don't think he's the hero, which he obviously is.
Yeah.
And you're really discrediting his hard work and ability to not die.
That's right.
Which, and honestly,
the most heroic thing that you could do is not die.
And I don't want to, use my military experience against you, but as a Vardaran, one of the most promotable aspects of a military member that you want
Mhm.
is non-death.
Yeah, longevity, yeah.
It's like top tier,
It's
right?
like
If
your
you could
credit
get
rating. The
someone
longer
who
you've got it, the better off you're doing.
is this brain still working? That's my guy. That's
I
my
just
guy.
man, it's so crazy to think if we would have had the internet back in '97 when this film came out, because I got to see the craziest ideas on display this past week. I one of my favorites was the person that was like, "Well, I just think it's a bad satire because they're showing clean streets. They're show
Oh, yeah,
they're
yeah,
showing well-fed people. If that's fascism, then I want in." It's like, "What?"
yeah. Yeah, no. Which, and this is I think that the part of the issue, I think it was like Michael Harrison, he writes on this,
Mhm.
but some artist interpretations are not like, oh, necessarily like this is what's gonna happen in the future, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're kind of closer to this,
Yeah.
like the art is the bugs. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
um and but he like RoboCop and V for Vendetta, and he kind of goes into a lot of these other things in this
Mhm.
book. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, and this is like part of the problem though, right? With having a movie about fascists, and that satirizes the fascists in some way or whatever,
Yeah.
is that fascists aren't, they're just like, and I guess they're not known for being like, like the like brightest
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it takes us like a certain amount of fucking stupidity and non like critical thought to just kind of like buy into this type of stuff. You
Yeah.
could add in a bunch of other factors of like societal aggrievement and blah 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 blah. But like when it
Mhm.
comes to the interpretation of this, it's like a self-eating snake. The fact
Yeah.
that like the dumb fascist in the movie about
Right.
dumb fascists.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's just it's so astounding. Like there's one like part of
It'll break your
this
brain if
guy's
you think
thread
about it
where
too
he's
hard.
like, "How can you look at the brain bug and have sympathy? I look at that thing and I find nothing but disgust." And it's like, brother, they made you're the guy in the movie. They made that guy.
Yeah,
Frankly,
no, yeah,
the
yeah,
idea of a bug that thinks disgusts me.
yeah.
Like, you're that dude,
Yeah,
man. What do you yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're the guy, you're the
Like,
guy.
and just I don't know, it's just, like, such an interesting it's so weird to look at obviously, art's subjective, at a certain point, but Paul Verhoeven made great strides to just even speaks about in the director commentary about how he's just like, "And if anybody didn't get it at this point, these guys wearing the jackboots are the
Yeah,
fascists. They're the
yeah, 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 the people in Nazi regalia
Yeah, the guy that was
are
another one I saw. They were like,
the
"Oh, just because
baddies.
they're wearing, clean pressed coats and jack boots, they're
Yeah.
Nazis?" It's like, well
You think what? Just because I like Hugo Boss, I'm a fascist? I'm a fascist now, because I'm a fascist.
I just like the dress well, I don't understand the
You look
problem.
looking sharp.
Man, yeah, it's I don't know. It's wild to the hoops they'll go through. It's wild to look
Mm.
at the internet sometimes and just see
Which I mean, I don't know. This is a whole other, episode or whatever.
yeah.
But like Twitter and like the cesspool that Elon Musk
Yeah.
has like turned it into. Because yeah, like honestly, I don't think we would have been able to see some of these dipshit takes,
Yeah.
outside of like 4chan had not been for Musk
The walls
producing
hadn't
stuff.
broken, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, no, people are dumb. It is. I honestly like the only part about it. It's like this is like the closest thing of like carving the swastika into somebody's forehead, you know what I'm saying? If somebody's
Yeah,
willing to,
yeah,
like,
just,
raise
like,
their
having a
hand.
very real and that just feels like Twitter writ large these days, man. I saw somebody the other day, this lady, I guess she's an art lady, but she was just like, "How could you look at some of the art coming out of 1920s Weimar and not think that Hitler's castle paintings are superior?" And it's like,
Oh my god,
"Whoa,
what the
whoa, easy there."
like, which
Whoa.
I mean, like, that's where it's like, out of all of the art, like, it's just like, if
Yeah,
you like,
it's
out of
like
all of the
like,
art.
there's a lot of art in the 30s you could look at
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, yeah.
You don't have to like, it's the drill tweet. You actually, under no circumstances, have to give it to that
Not not
guy.
not one.
Oh, man.
He had his own recipe for dog food, right? It was a homemade dog food recipe, and, I really don't want to, right? But it's just
Yeah.
it's
I'm saying I look through his cookbooks, and he had a
yeah,
lot of vegan ideas that
yeah,
nobody's
no.
really checking out these days.
German Shepherd's coat's never been shinier.
Man, and that's just on full display. So I guess, yeah, just I think you're right. Just a macro problem there is it's allowed like so many weird, like even the person that kind of started the discourse on Twitter was just like first name bunch of numbers, not even a well-known account, just some weirdo that now can just kind of
Mhm.
break through the filters because they've got a blue check and because
Yep.
there's other blue checks boosting them.
Yeah, you
Like,
pay
this is stuff
$8.
like a year and a half ago, these people wouldn't, have a voice, you know?
Yeah.
They just kind of, and you can make whatever free speech assessment, I guess, you want on that, but, like, it has lent to just, like, more and more little weirdo, like, conservative far-right fascists to kind of just start talking about all sorts of things in the public square.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, I mean, that, like, the thing too is, like, with this whole free speech thing,
Yeah.
for most, the people clamoring for it is just to say, mean things, just to say slurs and not have
Yeah.
any social repercussions for it. In the real sense and how this affects people is, elections in Turkey or
Yeah.
violent uphill evils
God.
in
Yeah.
Myanmar or, I mean, Pakistan now, like I guess Twitter just turned off, all service, so this is,
Yeah.
these things do have, ramifications in both directions as far as like what these platforms project,
Mhm.
in cases of like a right-wing fascist and violent group, and what they're and when they're willing to completely shut everything off to stop any communication as to, a left-wing person winning an election.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah, a
man.
lot of concerns with, that and things related to it, you know?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was,
yeah.
to a smaller, like, anecdote, but I know there was somebody that kind of we're not really gonna get in depth about it today, but, like, somebody claiming they found one of Elon's alt accounts,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
just got, like, immediately just zapped,
Yeah,
like, out of the world because they, just kinda
they touched.
yeah, just because they touched upon it, and it's like, "Oh, okay, so we just do that now, okay,
Yeah,
cool."
which and the thing and I mean, when you talk about, there's a story that came out that he was, like, calling in Twitter employees
Oh
after
my
the
god.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause he
yeah,
was big mad, like and, like, Joe Biden's ice cream tweet, it's like, "They're making the cartons, 2
yeah,
scoops smaller, Jack."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And and Elon lost his mind. I
of
mean,
course.
I get, Elon was Elon. He didn't change at all. He did Elon things.
Yeah,
And yeah, calling in people to redo the algorithm so he's number one.
mhm.
And oh
Good
god,
for
this guy
him, man, I'm
has
glad that
yeah, this
like
guy's got military contracts from the government.
that's terrifying, man. I talked about that the other day, it's just like, this guy hasn't, like I don't even he's not, like, trying to make money off of it, like, this is just if anything, with these weirdo alt accounts and stuff, all the potential for him just kind of, like, feeding into himself, this is just his little ego project, and I
It's
don't I honestly don't know if he cares whether or not, he loses
I
all his money on it.
I think he thought it was gonna make money.
Yeah.
I think because especially when you hear about when he went to PayPal and he was trying to get PayPal to be called X,
Sure, sure, sure. Way back
and
in the day, yeah.
make it the all-encompassing website or whatever. That's where he's pushing, Twitter.
Yeah.
It's it's just he really sucks. He sucks bad at everything.
Yeah.
And it's kinda like this weird thing where under the auspices of a social media site, he's not he's not like I guess like him himself and like it's like the industry that he steps into,
Yeah.
right? Because he never, like he bought into Tesla and SpaceX and all these things. Like there already was a structured apparatus that also has to reflect a regulatory apparatus. Like you
Mhm.
can't just send rockets into space. Although he does break shit, like you can't be as, relentlessly unregulated in rockets
Yeah.
or in making cars and all these things. Coming from I wish it was
Well,
regulated a
he's
whole lot
also
more.
I mean, he's got a board of people around him when it comes to that type of stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
and that's where like the organizational structure,
Yeah.
the regulatory structure, the contracts that came with those things, you can't, he has to be a little bit more serious for those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Then it comes to Twitter, and he can literally do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is and it's a Nazi website. Oh,
Yeah, and now it
I
yeah,
saw
and
that
now it's
coming.
just handful of bots and just, like, all the things that,
Yeah, gambling ads or,
Yeah.
scam,
Oh, those are the better of the ads, bud. I've seen ad buys from one follower accounts that are just like, "Do you want to feel healing of the great light into your soul?
I
Please look now at,
yeah.
my newspaper," and just links you to a virus website. It's great. I love what's
Yeah.
happening.
It's like a virus, like a vaccine. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah, like
take
the
you get a
vax,
little bit
like the
of
vax.
virus and it strengthens your body and you
Exactly.
heal your
Exactly, you got
soul
it.
with the
Got it.
light of the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
take 2.
speaking of a virus leaving the body, Richie Torres left the Progressive Caucus this week.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah, which
segue.
one of many I say many, like, I think there's a handful, there's 4 or
Yeah,
5,
yeah, a couple, yeah.
I
Richie
think
Torres,
Ruben
just the most notable.
oh, yeah, Ruben Gallego out of
Mhm.
Arizona, another, notable one, but not, too big of a name unless you're
Yeah.
a nerd, but, the, uh I've got, I guess a few takes. I think
Yeah.
first, like zooming out on like what the Progressive Caucus has been doing over the
Yes.
past few years, kind of
What
reshaping
their
itself.
overarching mission is, what
Yes.
their.
Yeah. And I got a lot of critiques.
Mhm.
Um, but overall, there does need to be a purity test set in. As
Yeah.
out of the things that need to happen with the progressive caucus, there needs to be a much more strict and public purity test.
Mhm.
Um, and people who don't meet that purity test, like freak, you know, gremlin Zionists like Richie Torres, if them leaving, them choosing to leave
Mhm.
because the progressive caucus isn't bloodthirsty enough. That's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
like, honestly, I see it as nothing positive for, like, I think that's the thing. I think you're right. Like, this idea of the Progressive Caucus has just been so watered down over the past few years because, I mean, yeah, you did have people like Richie Torres in there, and it's like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I would like to see, like, just even outside of being a freak Zionist, I would like to see your voting record and what you kind of like attribute to like more progressive ideals these days, like your voting record towards like war funding, like all of it's abysmal, man. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing is at my most skeptical,
hmm
I think about how a lot of Democrats and Nancy Pelosi does this to even near a tandem
Yeah.
who, who they use the word and they use the, title, I guess, or, moniker progressive when it
Mhm.
benefits them, and then they will
Yeah.
shed it. And as if the Progressive Caucus is just a list, right?
Yeah.
That you can take your name on and off whenever it benefits you, then, they anybody would use it. Anybody.
Mhm.
If it actually comes I mean, hell, 1 with dues, and then 2 with, a not like this where it's certain things are like, you have to vote for, with the Progressive Caucus, line, um, and that should be, for 1, expanded, and I think, 2, more public.
Yeah.
It should be, a line that nationwide, especially during primary season, some, a young voter can go to the candidates and say, "Are you in line with the Progressive Caucus?"
Yes.
Because I want a member that's gonna be able to join them,
Right.
right?
This should be a much more, like, valuable metric,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause right now it just, oh.
Yeah, and that's the thing, which, I know that you agree with is, like, obviously that the electoral politics realm is
Mhm.
not, you know, gonna save us,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, maybe
yeah.
I vote for dog catcher.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, right, we could think of organizing large economic and political structures that end up overthrowing capitalism and
Mhm.
bringing medicine and food
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all those things and
Yeah.
housing, right? Okay, great, right? But there's a whole
Mm.
lot of that goes into making that happen. Um, while discussing the realm of things happening within this electoral realm, we just that's where like we are slicing this pie so fine to even just to discuss the progressive caucus and any type of role
Mhm.
they could play and moving things forward for things like Medicare for all to
Right.
eventually get to
Or
a
using,
national healthcare system.
having candidates that you can use for things like public funding that can then be assigned to, these
Yeah.
projects that eventually go to build dual power structure. Yeah.
Because that's where, I see, where AOC is able to even, bring, more notice to, like, a strike that's going on for, like, the
Mhm.
Teamsters, and I say, like, the UAW strike, that was gonna be getting a lot of news. The
Yeah.
Teamsters strike that happened a year and a half to it was, like, a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Her going to that one and then, projecting out from her platform. These are things that right now that people are useful for. They
Yes.
need to be able to build out to actually be a more useful policy leverage, you
Yeah.
know, to say, "Hey, this caucus is for X, Y, and Z. Are you going to be in that caucus? Yes or no?"
Mhm.
That's a lot easier than trying to go down the line issue by issue by,
Mhm.
of all the primary candidates.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it definitely, yeah. It's like you were saying, there needs to be a better, um, you know, kinda ribbon in the way of people trying to just, like, cut into the line and say, "Oh, yeah, I'm part of this." Like, very simple things, like, are you for Medicare for all? Are you for, climate justice? Are you, these things that are gonna carry us into, like, the next decade, the things that we need to focus on, like, implicitly. Are you for, calling out, like, genocide? Like, are you for these very simple things, that realistically, if at this point, if you're, saying you're progressive, it should be pretty simple to adhere to.
Yeah.
You know?
The Pentagon even just passing an audit, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like, you don't even have to go too far in, like, American imperialism. Like,
Mhm.
maybe you even just draw that hard line and really kind of force that hypocrisy issue
Yeah.
on the military industrial complex, on these all fiscal, hawks, and you wanna come after Social Security and blah, 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 um, and I don't know, and that's, like, part of it is, like, it's kinda like the danger zone,
Mhm.
is the military industry and that type of spending, you run up to a lot of
Yeah.
roadblocks whenever whenever they start pushing up against that, but
Mhm. Yeah.
s and
Yeah.
speaking of pushing up against the roadblock
Yeah.
of the military industry.
And members of the progressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Rashida Tlaib,
Golly,
um
man, kinda wild that she tried it, you know?
yeah, yeah. Which I think this is something, I think this is something.
Yeah.
I don't,
I mean, I think if anything else, it's very indicative of how important a place like Michigan is gonna be come November.
yeah.
How the voter sentiment, like, surrounding, not even just her district, but just in general and how people are kinda feeling right now, in the wake of Joe Biden still, allying himself with, Benjamin Netanyahu's, genocidal, like, intent.
The thing too is that for one, I think that the administration largely, the punditry class or whatever underestimates the constituency that is concerned
Yeah,
over the genocide.
absolutely.
They literally only count, Arab Americans in Dearborn, Michigan, right?
Yeah,
They're like, "Oh, that's this amount, so if we lose them, that's
that's fine.
3%, no big deal. Hey, we got Big Gretch, everything's fine."
But
Um,
again, I just don't you have internals there, right? Like, within the party. The differential on Biden versus Gretch is still, like, close to 10 points, right? At least,
listen,
like, that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
I just
yeah.
saw differentials with him and John Tester, and I think that's, like, 12 points. Now that's a little different 'cause
Really?
Tester's a yeah,
Oh, yeah,
dude.
yeah, he did,
Tester's
God. I
Tester's
mean,
outperforming his
I
Republican, like, other
yeah.
by, like, 9
No,
points
I'm
right
actually
now.
that's where it's like, I thought, like, Tester is dug in,
Yeah, yeah, man.
um,
He's
but
got, like, the
yeah,
mansion numbers out in
I'm
Montana.
shocked to hear he's that high dug in,
Yeah, he's not
that's I
it's not
mean,
a it's not even a fight right now. He's
yeah.
9 plus.
Damn. Hey, he is a he's kind of a bastard though.
Yeah, oh, of course, he has
Oh,
he has to be. He's a he's
yeah,
a
yeah,
he's a Montana
yeah,
Democrat, of
yeah,
course.
exactly. He's like
But
2 shades better than
he's
Joe
he's
Manchin,
one of
but
the
yeah.
rotating villains, when
Yes.
Cinema and Manchin are there, yeah.
Yes, 100%.
But I mean,
Um,
like, off of that, off topic, like, yeah, even Gretch, like, she cooks Biden and, like, like, looking at differential polls in the state.
yeah. No,
Like,
and
people would much rather vote for Gretchen Whitmer than they would, vote for Joe Biden.
well, and I see, and this is
And
like, yeah. The thing
yeah.
is too where
Mhm.
what I'm assuming, and I mean, I'm gonna, you know, shout it from the rooftops as much as I can, you know what I'm saying? But if you are in Michigan,
Yeah.
right, you know, pay attention. I would
Mhm.
say go there and vote for, I believe it's uncommitted, right? In
Yes,
order to,
yes.
log your vote for, the Biden administration to call for a ceasefire, to stop, aid for Gaza and all these things. Um, and this is kind of like, one of those things where, yeah, like for the Progressive Caucus, they should be coming to Rashida's aid on this one.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most despicable things. It's not only seeing that like Rashida Tlaib has largely been alone, you know, taking fire. There are other
Yeah.
members who will, speak out against what's happening,
Mhm.
but when it comes to the fire that she takes, whether we're just getting sanctioned, attempt to be
Mhm.
sanctioned, people
Mhm.
talking about expelling her and all these things, Democrats going out and voting with them on that. Um,
Like,
yeah,
the
I
thing
well,
is, Biden's the candidate. This does not make or break anything. This is just her literally her saying, "Hey, vote uncommitted. I think it will be very important for the DNC to see a representation of how many people are not enthused with the commitment to this genocidal, slaughter that is being carried out by the Israeli government right now.
Yeah.
I think it's important for them to be able to, and even that like drives these like Democrat pundits and just regular weirdo like blue MAGA folks drives them absolutely like up a
Oh my
hill, you
god.
know?
The K-Hive.
Yeah, like
No, you know what I'm
you would
saying?
like
Like, it's like
I
no longer supporting, women of color.
yeah,
Like
I mean, I'd love to say I didn't think that I would see like, Democrats calling for her to be deported and stuff, but
Yeah.
I d
Yeah. Here we are.
I guess I kinda always felt that was gonna happen.
Yeah. No,
It's wild.
yeah, no, and, that's like, uh, I think, at least I hope, and this is something that even like in New Hampshire, they got a few thousand people for the, like amongst the, variations of write-in for
Yeah,
ceasefire now.
yeah.
So, and that's where it's like between, especially too, it's like the mayor of Dearborn literally denied meeting with the Joe Biden
Yes.
campaign. And then later on, the administration actually came forward to meet with some people.
Mhm,
Um, they I have to assume, right? And the message also sends like this isn't just a how many people are upset with Joe Biden over this issue.
yeah,
This is an accurate number of voters
yes,
in Michigan who are pissed off over this. And
yeah,
the thing is too, where even if you're voting for Joe Biden in the
mhm,
general, no matter what, doesn't matter, you get to voice your opinion on this issue in a way that most Americans don't get to deliver any type of message, right? Like this
mhm,
will literally say there are, whatever 10,000 this many, you know what I'm saying? It
mhm.
will say down to the last person
Like
of voters who are willing to get up off the couch and say genocide Joe.
yeah, and that's, again, I'm sorry, but if I'm like the DNC, I kind of am interested, I think. Like you should be.
Well, I and that's the thing is
You
like
wanna know at least an approximate on those numbers so you can start working on your alternatives.
I don't think they're interested.
I
I don't
mean,
think they're
I
they are
just don't
much
know what
more
you're scared
interested.
of.
They're see, they are much more interested in, "Oh, no, everyone come out for Joe Biden so they can say, 'Look how great he's doing, and everybody
Yeah,
loves Joe
yeah, yeah.
Biden.'" And, like, that's where too, it's like, it's fealty. It is, the blue MAGA or blue anon, this is
Yeah.
a undenying,
How dare
team
you
sport,
spurn
right?
us? Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, the coach is, "Hey, how are you gonna disparage coach? He's the coach. He's our
Yeah.
coach, right? This is
He's
our
our
team."
coach.
And, coach is sending missiles into my house, so I'm not a big fan,
Yeah.
you know?
Also, I did catch, was it Nancy Pelosi that said we hadn't sent any there were no American weapons in, Israel? I
Yeah,
was like,
she
"Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting."
yeah,
None, huh?
yeah. So and
Yeah.
that's where, like, literally, like, the weapons that they had gone around Congress to send, they said they were sending tank rounds,
Yeah.
and then tank rounds were entering hospitals.
Yeah.
I
No, those are the
it
backup one. They just have those they paint little fun faces on them,
yeah.
decorate the headquarters with them.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
they don't use those ones, yeah.
The tank rounds they sent were just for the influencers.
Yeah,
Got it. Yeah.
decorative
Yeah.
tank rounds, so they
Yeah.
can,
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes yeah.
TikToks with them, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Have Deborah Messing pose with them. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Oh,
I
man.
like, it's a race between who's the most insidious between her, Michael Rappaport, and
Oh.
Brett Gelman. They're all
It's
No, I'm the most psychotic. No, it's
yeah.
me! Like, it's wild to see
Well,
the
which
3 of them trying to hustle, like, the most evil they can on social media.
I can only imagine walking down, like you can imagine going down the street and like going to the grocery store and then
Yeah.
Michael Rappaport is just sweating, yelling into his phone.
Yeah. Like, I think my favorite thing from him was he was like, "Oh, well, I'll do it. I'll debate. I'll debate. I've got it. I'll debate Norman Finkelstein, no problem." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You are a B-list actor,
Yeah,
and nothing else. I don't
yeah,
think you want to.
yeah.
That
I
man has been doing this for 30 plus years."
yeah. Which
Like, I mean, okay. If you want to get blown out, like, harder than Dershowitz ever could dream, then go for it, I guess.
well, that's the thing. It's like, why would anybody agree to just getting yelled at and spit on by some fucking, idiot?
Yeah.
Well, because like that's all, and like that's all he does is just yell, and you see the spit flying out of his mouth, on like hitting like why would anybody subject themselves
Right.
to even being around? I don't want to see him on the internet. I'm what like,
I know it's staged, but that one video of him getting pegged with a snowball is very funny.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, yeah, I don't know. I like all of them like confuse and astound me, Every single one of them.
Oh, yeah. Which, oh my, uh, there's a it is a level of disgusting that I did not think I would see in the year 2024. Um, but it is a real, it's just, I don't know. It's a real example of how, true and dangerous, like certain ideologies and stuff like that are,
Yeah.
and how how far we have not come.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although we gotta, you know, maybe
Yeah.
start getting to packing it up here because
Well,
I got to
yeah,
get
I
back
wanna
to,
talk to you about where you're at today. That's
well, listen, obviously the Bidenomics isn't working, so
yeah.
new job every fucking week.
Okay, okay, alright,
But no, we just ran a line of some new shoes that got
okay.
out. Yeah,
I see
yeah.
some, like, right up by your head, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 right.
This is good work, yeah.
Right. Right here in this thing that I can touch, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So Trump,
But Trump shoes,
Trump
Trump
shoes, baby.
sneakers.
I honestly here's the thing. I know I've seen, like, countless liberals, they're just like, "Well, I can't wait to see these 65-year-old boomers walking around." It's like, this isn't for them. Maybe
No.
one of them was able to get them, but these people aren't computer literate, and they definitely can't beat scalpers. These are going to like hype beast, people. These are going to sneakerheads, man. These are going to
Yeah.
sneakerheads and scalpers that are going to leave them on eBay in perpetuity.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Nobody's wearing like no 70-year-old sits in front of Fox News 6 days a week is going to be walking around in these.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like, Trump influencers
Yeah, like, yeah,
who
maybe you'll see, like, Forgiato Blow or something wearing a pair, but that's
yeah,
it, you
which
know?
he's gonna look
Or
great
or
now.
or Tom McDonald or whatever,
Yeah, 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 like, that's yeah, you're gonna I mean, at the end of the day, like, you've got a chance of seeing these sneakers somewhere out in public, from some asshole YouTuber trying to harass people, outside of a voting booth or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that but yeah, and this is where apparently he got booed a little bit at the sneaker convention
I
that
heard,
he released them.
yeah.
Um, and it was a day after he was ordered to pay $355 million
Yeah,
for scamming
let's
some
chat
people in New
about it,
York.
kinda wild.
Well, and that's where it's like there's so many cases, right?
Mhm.
There's so many court cases with this guy.
Yeah.
Um, but this one was for the hush money payments
Yes.
to Stormy Daniels
Yeah.
as they were written on the books, where, it was a campaign thing, but it wasn't written as a campaign thing.
Yeah.
And he got Michael Cohen, and he explains it on his podcast fantastically, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure. Um, and so it was already ruled that, yes, they committed fraud, through these, this was a lecturing, you know, fraud through these type of payment systems. Now it gets down to the ruling, and the judge slaps him with $355 million
Yeah.
just off of a week ago with E. Jean Carroll, and like I can't was that 80 something million? I can't tell you.
Yeah, yeah, something around there. Yeah.
It's hard to remember all the fucking
Yeah.
problems. But yeah, and so 355 million. What's interesting is I think with both E. Jean Carroll and this, in order to appeal, he has to put down
Yes.
the majority of the money.
Which I don't think if I'm being honest, I don't think he's paying any of it. Like, I think
Uh,
I know your butt, but I think he's just gonna just kind of let it fly. He's in the home stretch, man. Like, he's 9 months away. He's gonna see what happens in November.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
not doing anything before then.
that's that's true. That's
You
true.
know?
And that's I guess like the case, I guess I wonder too if like if there are any like payment requirement timelines or any this, that, or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. And I mean, but this this country's I don't think it's working so well. Just
I think it's broken a little bit. We talk
yeah.
about this from time to time, but I think it's not good. I saw a 65-year-old man breakdancing in a takedown video of his daughter today, and I think
You didn't even he was a deadbeat dad, and the worst part about it is that his response video, he was wearing a Bitcoin shirt.
he was, yeah, yeah, big Bitcoin guy, big fan of Elon Musk as well. Yeah,
Who would
wild.
shocker there.
Yeah, 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 crazy. Yeah, I don't think we're doing so good. I think we talk about mental health. I think that's it.
Yeah. No, and this is, the thing that it's like layered on of, Donald Trump being, he's beating the bricks off of Nikki Haley in South
Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah,
Um there's it's just hard to comprehend how we got here.
yeah.
And like
Well,
and taking it all in, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Sort
it's
of like sitting down and just like, yeah, part and parceling it out and looking at all these
yeah,
things that have occurred.
and we're
I
just
w
gonna have court case after court case after
Yeah,
court case going into an election
yeah.
where, we got these 2 geezers that nobody wants this actually,
Yeah.
right? That's,
Oh, the
no
true believers, I guess, but I don't even know if they want, like, Biden specifically. Like, that's my thing. I wanna know who wants Biden specifically. What's the number there versus him just being the candidate, you
I mean,
know? How many
literally
people are like, "No, I need this guy.
yeah.
This is the only one. This Delaware, born man or PA born man living in Delaware. I need this guy."
I honestly I think mostly, Kamala stands are like the most
Yeah.
invested,
Oh, absolutely.
for reasons. Um
Coconut tree years in, absolutely, 100%.
um, but no, it is simply the predicament that we are in, right?
Yeah,
He already got the nod first time around
yeah,
and decided not to be a one and done, you know?
which is, I don't know, just so wild.
Yeah,
Like, and
like
the usual suspects are coming out, the same people that, like, stood up as Feinstein, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were in their death throes, and they're like, "Listen, we need to stop calling him old." And it's like, "You already did this twice."
yeah, yeah.
Hey, wait a second, like, no, maybe I don't know, man.
I every day, and that's I mean, I think you said it last night, that October surprise, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, now we're
it
talking. Just some real interesting, stuff could happen. Oh god, your shoe's sore. Marcus, you've gone to the void.
my shoe store just disappeared.
Oh, no.
I got fired. I got
Is
kicked
any
out.
Is anything real? Oh no.
They just kicked me out of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
store.
I get it. I get it. They don't
Yeah,
like it when you podcast in those places.
yeah,
But yeah, I just like I don't know, man. I think I'm looking towards like the next couple of months, and as we're getting closer to primaries cracking out as well. Like first early voting started for Michigan this weekend, right?
yeah.
So we'll start the road towards that. Early voting started in Texas today, and as every year, I'm really hoping.
Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly. Carl, I agree. I'm
Carl's
really
excited.
hoping yeah, he's excited for the early voting
Carl's
in Texas.
excited.
I'm really hoping, there's a tree on the ballot for the Dems in the Greg Abbott primary, you know? I really think, he'd come back and finish the job. Um, I don't know, man. I'm very interested in how the primaries, start shaping up. I'm really, really wondering where Nikki Haley is in all this, like how long she sticks around, what her play is.
Yeah, I and I'm still holding on to her and the anti-Trump muddied interest.
Yeah.
Like the people with capital that are going to be able to, at least in their heads, be able to build something post-Trump.
Yeah.
Um, you know, they they I think that especially too, they're yeah using her as the vehicle of the this is the correct way.
Yeah.
Trump is a loser, and at that point too, it's like if they can accept that Trump lost,
Yeah.
then hopefully they can accept this is the right Republican path.
Sure.
But
Like,
that
she wants to
hinges.
position herself like, I wonder about that gambit versus her, and you look at 2 different things here, right? You look at her versus, DeSantis, and her staying in is very much a kind of setting the path and the tone for 2028 when she's absolutely gonna come back and attempt this again. And I wonder if she thinks that's a better calculation than where Ron DeSantis said, "I've spent way too much money. I need to like start putting in the reserves and build up for the next 4 years and try to come back." I wonder, and I think honestly, like personally, I think that he fails in that endeavor because she already, I think, has more recognition than him uh, in the seats of power within the party.
Oh yeah.
Like I think he failed them pretty utterly. I think he for the people that were within the Republican establishment that were looking for an alternative. I think Ron DeSantis was such a bad buy. Whereas Nikki Haley has that, I mean, she's
Yeah.
not going to beat Trump, but she has absolutely proven that, she could have potential in the future.
I mean, Ron coming into the campaigning
Yeah.
was in that position,
Absolutely, absolutely he was,
and
and he
he
just
ran, yeah, an
woo,
absolutely,
he did that to himself,
unhinged. Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Just
still
ridiculous.
remember I was taken aback. I still remember the one ad where he's like, "So anyway, Donald Trump, why does he like all these gays?" You're like,
Yeah.
"What
Oh
was
yeah. Yeah.
that?"
Yeah. 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 Because that was starting out with the Twitter, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he
yeah.
started out in the Twitter space.
I'm Elon's
um
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, and then once the like the little like online nerds took over,
yeah,
is like little like
yeah, getting
Reddit
groypers in his
freaks, yeah,
campaign, like all sorts of.
because that whole that the video with him and like Christian Bale,
Yeah.
they like who
Right.
who
Who
thought that
outside
was
of
good?
yeah, who outside of Zoomers mainlining Adderall so they can get ready for the test tomorrow are resonating with that,
Yeah, it's so wild,
Like
yeah. But no, and that's he completely he the bed was soaking,
yeah,
when he was down.
crazy.
And then, yeah, Nikki Haley, I mean, especially, like, more than I mean, Tim Scott or
Mhm.
Doug Burgum or
Love Doug
who
Burger.
else? Yeah, just sleeping on Bergs.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I can't even remember some of the, if there was really, who else
Yeah.
was. I mean,
Oh
you
god,
think
the
Ramaswamy was never going to
Sununu
be.
was in there at some point,
Yeah.
Hutchinson.
Oh, Asa Hutchinson. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
man. A lot
So
of
I think any of them could have filled this role had they actually, gotten the support.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of reasons why, like Nikki Haley is, beat the rest of them out.
Yep.
Age, certain positioning, within the Trump, as a governor and all these things.
I think she
Um,
figured out the secret sauce too for speaking to,
yeah,
uh, Reagan, Democrats.
yeah,
I think
and
she
I
just
mean and that's
she
where.
got more airtime and more sympathy as a result of it from media outlets.
And I think that's like actually where it is a pretty smart play,
Mhm.
to because this thing is like what's interesting is she's going to have a certain contingency in
Mhm.
certain states, um, right, where Democrats are willing to jump over and try and get Nikki Haley. Some of them are just doing it to try, I'm a Democrat, and I'm just doing this to try and beat Trump or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some of them are saying, "No, I would vote for Nikki Haley over Joe Biden, but
Mhm.
I'd vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump."
Yeah.
And I think that's the one useful thing to the Republican Party. I shouldn't be saying this out loud.
Yeah.
It's a useful thing,
They
to the
already know, we're not
yeah,
helping them.
the Republican Party, is finding out, literally, who and where that constituency is, because that's the thing is with another Joe Biden-esque candidate,
Mhm.
that is the death nail for the Democrats with the Electoral College map.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Ah, man. Well,
Yeah.
this time, Marcus, this time you've got it. This time you have a little drop of happiness, something for your final thought that's positive. I'm sure of it.
I
Eh,
do
okay.
wish.
All right.
Um, uh, no, I don't.
No, no. Listen, listen, listen. I
I
believe in you
don't.
here.
The
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. The
Uh,
good thing, there
mm.
were more countries in the Security Council that voted for a ceasefire than last time today.
That's true. That is something to think about.
Yes, it's just there was one
We're getting
country
there.
that voted against it, and they happen to be a permanent member, and so
Yeah.
they vetoed it. So yeah,
Wait, who's that? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, God, yeah, man, the world's on fire, and we gotta keep going and stay
Yeah.
positive,
Yeah.
even though it's hard and there's not a lot of great things.
Yeah.
But maybe you save up $400 and buy yourself a new nice pair of gold sneakers.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, maybe watch a movie and think about how fascists can't understand what's in front of them.
That's true. Or you play a video game with those same themes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right.
There are some things. There are some things. No, and that's where too. It's like I think for one, between Rashida Tlaib and the Progressive Caucus, let's hope that continues in that trajectory.
Yeah.
And like, I really would hope to see more people kind of coming to her side and being more of a block, especially on the issue of the 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 genocide in Gaza.
Yeah.
Um, but hey, one day longer, one day stronger.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
got? What do you got?
I'll tie into what you were saying. I think honestly, a little light of positivity. I did think that it was cool that Lula ended diplomatic relations and said, "Hey, man, no, not today."
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
great to have him back. Pretty wild to see that man in the driver's seat in Brazil again.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right.
So,
You're right,
yeah,
you're right.
he's not doing, no, nobody's nerfed, but it seems to have a lot of good principles.
Yes, and in a position too on the world stage to actually project,
Yes. Yeah.
um, yeah, being the leader of Brazil and like the amount of like people and resources that country has, like it demands a stage, and yeah, it's good that Lula is using it
Mhm.
to really s- say, what I'm saying, he's saying it,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Kinda
saying
kinda
it.
crazy, man. South America stays winning, kinda crazy to see, some principles, you know? We
Yeah.
got we got nothing close up here.
I mean, hell, you compare I don't know if you saw that, Bernie interview with,
Yeah, I did.
yeah,
Yeah, I watched it.
left a lot wanting, but
Yeah, yeah.
either way,
Tough.
either way. That's it, we'll get 'em
Yeah.
next time, though.
Yeah, that's right.
ManCon
Listen,
5, that's a wrap.
the ManCon, level just keeps elevating.
That's right.
We'll be back next week. Like and subscribe, follow on the podcast apps and all that. Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.